If you haven't done this already, it's probably on your to-do list to make a stop by the garden center. I know it's on mine, but with this wet spring, it's finally drying out a little bit, and you can stick that shovel in the ground, plant some perennials. We have Flint here. He is an expert on local bedding gardens, and you're going to walk us through a few things to help us when we go into a garden center. Because I know when I walk in, I get a little overwhelmed. There's so many products, so many things. I'm not sure what goes where. How do you break this down?
Well, when someone walks into a garden center, they are overwhelmed. There are beautiful flowers everywhere. What am I going to use? Where am I going to put them at my home? And how do I start? Well, the best thing to start with is your favorite colors. I mean, everyone's an artist in their own way, but everyone's different. Everyone's unique. I may like blue, navy blue, and reds, and someone else will say, oh, mine are pinks and purples. And so it's always best to go with what you like best, your favorite colors. And then with shapes and everything, best thing to do is when you grab that plant, read the tag. The tag will say its height, its measurements, and all that fun stuff. And then,
so you're getting dimensions.
That's correct.
And then you say, I love this tip that we talked about a little earlier, is just look at the part of your yard that you're planting. What is the shape of the garden? How do you break down those bedding spots in your yard?
That's correct. So there's different islands that you want to use at your house or for your bedding gardens. The first one is a border island. The border island is something that you would have an anchored backdrop to, which would be your home, a fence, something very large like that. And the nice part about that anchored background is it's already there. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to put some flowers in front of it. And the first
what do we want to consider when we're there?
So this diagram that I've drawn here is a border island.
Whiteboards work for this too.
That's right. So right here is where your fence or your home is going to be. Okay, and then you have your recipe for your border island. Now this can be from 5 feet to 50 feet long, depending on your fence or your house. Now when you want to start, you of course have your home or your fence here that's going to be your largest item. So you don't have to worry about that. Now these spots here are different plants that you want to use. So these large ones right here are typically plants that are going to grow very tall, from 4 feet to 6 feet tall. Could be rose bushes, could be really tall grasses, maybe even some small trees or shrubs.
Okay.
Now, if you notice, throughout this entire diagram, I don't have everything in straight lines. Maybe this back one a little bit, but you want to kind of stagger it. Now, if you noticed, I've got about 5 different large plants. Now, you want to kind of keep them the same variety of plant.
Okay,
you don't want to go
that's easy.
with,
that takes some guesswork out of it. Keep those the same.
And then the blue are the second to largest, and see how they're kind of staggered throughout the island.
I like this because I would tend to kind of think of things in lines, but then we're looking at farmland crops, right?
Exactly, and they grow differently. You know, they're not going to grow straight. They're going to branch out, and the flowers are going to go out. So that's why it's good to stagger it. So then you have, so your second to largest are going to be around 3 to 4 feet tall. So they're going to be a little bit smaller than these. Then the red is going to be another smaller plant, a few inches, maybe 12 inches and under. And that could be ivy geraniums, it can be hostas, whatever you feel you like the best.
Like you said, look at the colors, look at those things that you like yourself.
You got it. And then the smallest is the black here down at the bottom. Of course, those are items that, like petunias. You know, they just grow a few inches.
Right above the ground.
Yep, and they'll fill out.
So I love that. So it's kind of mixed so that you're getting a big difference in height. What about the island beds? Where are those and how do we treat those?
So the islands are right here. Now the nice thing about an island is it can be viewed from all sides. Your anchor isn't like a home or fence. An individual will be able to walk all around it. So your anchor is actually right here in the center. Okay. Now this island, I don't have it centered right in. It could be off to the side, but it's going to be somewhere in this area. The center could be a tree. It could be a big boulder. It could even be a mailbox for a small island.
And so you have your big anchoring item right there.
Right there, yep. And then of course the same kind of outline as like a border. You want to have your larger plants by the anchor in the center here. And then you work out to your medium and then you're very small on the edges.
Okay, now what about recommendations for sun and shade? You know, if we've got a huge tree in the middle and it's offering a lot of shade, what do you think about different plants?
That is an excellent question. So right here, I have my shade plants. Now, some people, maybe in the shade, they don't want to have any color or blooming color. And so they want to go with just colored leaves. And these right here are called coleus. All of these are coleus, these different varieties. And you can tell there's colors in them, but there are no blooms. And that's fine, and some people don't like to clean up the blooms. They just want that color of the leaf in there. You also have some hostas here in the back, which also don't bloom, but they show color in the leaves. Now, if you do like blooming in the shade, we've got some impatiens.
Oh, those are pretty.
And you can also use begonias, and there's even one called sun patience that do both sun and shade. But there's kind of a different variety of plants that you can use for your shade.
And depending on your style, what you like.
Yep.
Now, what about hanging baskets? Those are another popular thing that people do. What are recommendations for that? You brought some really beautiful ones with you today.
Yep. Now, let's say you got your border island, your island, and I don't have time to take care of an island. I don't have time to weed it. I don't have time. Yeah, I don't have time to plant it. So what you can do is buy a very large pot, like we've got here.
Yeah, that
down
big
here.
pot is just marvelous.
Yeah, and
wow.
it's probably 14 to 18 inches wide and
it's like
deep.
A mini garden, right?
That's right.
That's your island. That is my island garden.
That's right. And you can just put that right in front of your house, on your porch. You can have a number of them scattered everywhere, and you don't have to worry about weeding. You don't even have to worry about watering if you put in a drip system and just set it like your sprinklers. It can just water itself every day. You can either buy it that way, or you can come up with the recipe yourself and plant it in it. Another easy thing to do is buy a hanging basket, cut off the hangers, and just drop it right in a pot like that. And it'll continue to grow. And your planting's done. 5 minutes.
You are done.
That's right. So it's that easy.
And as we're looking to plant, do you have a recommendation fertilizer? What do you think
Yes.
of that?
Now, fertilizer is a question we get asked all the time, because people will say, I bought a fertilizer and for some reason in my yard it's not working. Well, that's because a number of fertilizers that are sold nationwide are for back east or California large areas. Utah has a very different climate. It's a little dry here. So we have formulated fertilizer that works for Utah's climate. And you use it 2 to 3 times a week in your hanging baskets, in your flowering beds, and you will get blooms all summer long, even into the fall. But you have to religiously water it every week. That's right. And this formulation that we've got is at our garden center, at Flint's Garden Center in West Point.
Perfect.
And you use that, you're gonna have blooming flowers all summer long.
You're guaranteed these kinds of flowers.
That's right.
Lovely, awesome. Thanks so much, Bo.
Thank you.